bad, and everything that made you sad from the previous week. And we welcome back a familiar face. We've got Westradamus back in, and we're going to try to release some of this episode early if Wes makes any predictions here. But first, we're going to talk about the Seattle Mariners clinching for the first time in forever, for a very long time. Wes, how does that feel?
Man, not gonna lie, this feels great. Not only did they clinch the playoffs, they clinched the division yesterday, and then they clinched home field advantage. They clinched to bye. They clinched at least the number 2 seed. They're still fighting for the 1 seed, which is absolutely insane. And it's all thanks to an insanely hot streak, winning 16 of the last 17 games, sweeping the Astros. They might not even make the playoffs now, which is amazing. I love it. And it's funny because if you asked me earlier this month, at the beginning of this month, they had a terrible road trip. They won, I think they went like 1-8 on the road. And they were like one game out.
Reminiscent of the last 2 years.
They were out. They were at the bottom of the wild card, and I was not getting my hopes up. But I was like, man, shocker. I was like, typical Mariners shitting the bed once again, and then they get home and they just go on a tear. Here's the great thing, though. I think the last game of the road trip, they won. But before that, somebody posted on Reddit and they said, I just paid an Etsy witch $20 to do a spell on the Mariners to make them good. And they posted a receipt on Etsy and everything. And she said, done. And then what do you know? Ever since then, they've won 16 of 17 games. Etsy witch is real, bro. And the Etsy witch is real. And it's even been acknowledged, like during the broadcast, on one of the games, like after they won like 5 straight, he was like, the Etsy witch is real, folks. The Mariners win. And it was like when they won in extra innings. It was amazing.
Now they got to bring out the Kraken mascot so you can have a troll and a witch.
Yes. I love it. And like I kept waiting for the bottom to fall out, but it didn't. Big Dumper kept hitting more home runs. Freaking buries Aaron Judge in the MVP. I'm sorry. If you don't give the MVP to Cal Raleigh, what are you even doing? The dude's a catcher. He's hit 60 jacks. That's unheard of. Like, just getting 60 home runs is like an insanely special feat. Like, only 6 dudes have done it, and 3 of them were juicing the entire time. Like, Aaron Judge, Babe Ruth, Roger Maris, and now Cal Raleigh. It's insane.
Yeah, he's the best hitting catcher we've seen maybe since Mike Piazza. He's had the best catcher hitting season ever, as you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, you mentioned all of the things the Mariners have clinched. Did they also clinch an MVP?
I think they did. He hit 2 home runs yesterday. That was insane. And it's crazy because watching it, everyone started chanting MVP as soon as he came up. First pitch, swings, gone. 60 home runs. And then the dude who caught it, he gave it to a kid. Yeah. How awesome is that? Yeah. And then the Mariners found him. They got him. Yeah. Complete opposite. 180. That's how you do things. Okay. That's how you get recognized. And you know what? The Mariners brought him down before the game today. They gave him an autographed bat. He took photos with his whole family and Cal Raleigh, everything, the whole shebang. Yeah. Good things come to, it's called good karma, people. Don't be a dickhead. Don't be a Karen.
It is interesting to be in Seattle right now because Seattle is having a bit of a moment right now. Seattle's got a great baseball team. They've got a great hitter. The Seahawks just had a crazy game while we're recording this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last weekend, they won 44-6. I was watching that and I was like, I don't remember the last time I actually got bored during the fourth quarter because it's every Seahawks game, they win. It's always down to the end, just like today, always down to the end. And I was like, this is nice and refreshing just to blow somebody out for a change. I was like, I like it.
You could have a good buzz going while you're having a couple beers during the game. You don't have to have a stressed out buzz.
Yeah. Sam Darnold, I wasn't too sure. I still don't know if he can win us a Super Bowl, but he's better than Geno. He's better than Geno. He doesn't make as many mistakes. And Mike McDonald, he's young, and I think he's got a great head on him. Like he's making good decisions, and I'm excited for the future of Seahawks football. And they almost blew it today. Man, that was way too close for comfort. But the Cardinals blew it just as much. Did you see that? Did you see that
the
kick?
flea flicker?
No, the kick. No. So after they tied the game.
No.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
That was timed out. That was actually timed out perfectly. Like Mike Brown took a timeout to set up that kickoff because they have to do the dynamic kickoff now. So he knew they would have to kick it to his guys because they have to kick it in the dynamic kickoff zone. So they took the timeout, so it was still within the time frame where he has to kick it into that spot for the return. So what happened after he had to do that? And it was a
squib kick. Yeah, he tried to squib kick it, and then it fell short of the 20, and then we ended up getting the ball on the 40-yard line. And it's like you complete one throw, and you're like in field goal position now. And we squibbed it through the uprights, got the dub with no time left. 3 games in a row, 3-1.
It's a new wide receiver era in Seattle, too.
Yeah, we got Cooper Kupp. We got Jackson Smith and Jigba. Man.
Yeah, and Tyler Lockett is in Tennessee and not really doing anything. Haven't heard from him since he went to Tennessee. It's where all wide receivers go to die because look what DeAndre Hopkins is doing in Baltimore after he left Tennessee. And then you lost DK Metcalf to the Steelers. And I was reading a stat the other day that actually 40% of all of Sam Darnold's throws, guess where they've gone?
JSN.
Yeah. They've all gone
That's
to
his
JSN.
favorite target. That's his favorite target. And they got a good connection going on. I'm pumped to see where it goes.
Tonight, right?
Yeah.
Back shoulder?
Yeah. And you know what? It's a better connection than he had with Geno. And Geno's not doing so great in Oakland, Las Vegas, wherever. I don't even know. Sacramento? Are the Raiders in Sacramento? Oh, wait, no, that's Athletics. Sorry, I keep getting my teams confused.
Yeah, there's been a mass exodus from the Oakland area for all Oakland sports teams. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Oakland A's are now the Sacramento Athletics. The Golden State Warriors now playing.
That's the funny thing. They're not even calling themselves Sacramento. They're just calling themselves the Athletics this year.
They can.
And
Oakland owns the name.
Yeah, and it's funny because they have like Las Vegas patches and like all the billboards in the Sacramento stadium are like Las Vegas. It's like Circa and like all the other casinos. And I'm like, this is hilarious. And it's funny because it's like a AAA stadium, and so there's no stands between the foul poles. It's just like empty field, and it's just watching the Astros get their ass kicked in like a minor league stadium was hilarious.
Yeah, it's been rough to be an Oakland sports fan over the last couple of years, but a lot of people don't realize Las Vegas is only like 8 to 10 hours away.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah,
it's a better city anyways. It's a better city. Let's be real.
Well, not lately. You see what's going on in the Las Vegas tourism lately.
I wonder why that is.
Now, obviously, you, myself, and another friend that's been on the show before are planning to go to the World Cup. And have you seen the prices of these tickets? They're ridiculous. And now they're doing the right to buy packages. Have you ever heard of the right to buy package?
No.
So basically, you have to sign up for this raffle for a right to buy. Now, the cool thing about being in the United States is we have third-party vendors and things like that. But basically, you have to pay for a right to buy, right, to get into certain stadiums, or you could pay like the cheapest cost for the right to buy, which is a random stadium. That you just have a right to buy a random ticket at a random stadium. Okay.
Yeah.
The one to go to the games that you and I are all looking at in Los Angeles and Seattle. So the one to go to the first game in Los Angeles, guess how much that right to buy package is?
How much?
$748 for the right to buy package. That's on top of your ticket price. So you have a right to buy a ticket if you pay for this, and then you have to buy your ticket still. And I was just I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to hope for the best. I was like, at the very least, me and the guys will be tailgating in the stadium parking lot because FIFA's trying to price out anybody. They're just trying to get like influencers and things like that in the stadium, which is just pathetic.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's annoying. And then you got Trump saying, "Oh, well, if the city, if I think it's too dangerous, I'll move the games." Okay, bro.
Where are you going to move them? The White House lawn? This isn't UFC.
Right? I know.
It's
Anyways,
there's a lot going on with that, but hopefully we get some content from that. Like that is still very much my birthday present. FIFA World Cup kicks off in June in the United States, so that has been discussed in my household, and I will be there
yes.
for the FIFA World Cup. At least Los Angeles and Seattle, and we'll go from there. We'll see what we can do. But let's get to the real reason you're here, Wes. You're here to talk about the Oregon Penn State game. Two undefeated, this is going to sound weird, Big Ten teams, Big
Why?
Ten rivals, Oregon and Penn
I mean,
State.
after last year, it is. I mean, that was a good game. I mean, I can't believe we're the underdogs. Yeah. Of course it's a whiteout. It's Penn State. Yeah. I'm sorry, but Penn State's got no chance. You kidding me? Kidding me?
So you're saying take Oregon
better than last
year?
We look better than last year. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not afraid of the Nittany Lions. I'm not afraid of College Station or wherever, Happy Valley. I'm not afraid of Happy Valley. Yeah, Drew Aller. He sucks. They lost to Notre Dame last year.
I've actually said this since last year. Behind Cade Klubnik, Clemson. Go back and watch the previous 2-week shows to hear some of my awesome thoughts on Clemson and how I've been talking about the downfall of Clemson for a while. I did reference last year how you and I were like, I don't think Cade Klubnik is that good. He doesn't look good. Why does everybody like Cade Klubnik? And it's looking like we were right. And right behind Cade Klubnik is overrated. I have Drew Aller. I just don't think Drew Aller is that good of a quarterback.
No. And it's James Franklin. Like, what are they gonna do? He always loses, and he always loses top 5 games. Like, when was the last time he won a top 5 game?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna get it done, Penn State. We're gonna stomp you with our little web feet.
Yeah, what happened to the duck to start your season? The very start of the season, the poor duck. He was decapitated.
Well, did you see him against Oklahoma State? First half?
No.
Oh, he dressed up as what are those Lagugu dolls or whatever.
Oh, Labubu?
Yeah, Labubu. It was scary.
I think that's what it is.
Scary. Yeah, Labubu dolls. He was dressed up as a Labubu doll. You should Google it. He had like little fang teeth and stuff. It was weird. And he was trying to do push-ups, and he like couldn't even do push-ups. They put him on. They had like all the male cheerleaders, and like they had him on the board, and eventually they just started like throwing him up, so his whole body was doing this on the board instead of actually pushing up.
That's awesome. I did talk about him against Northwestern. I thought his antics against Northwestern were pretty hilarious when he's like putting the poster in the Wildcats' face.
I love him. And you know what? So did Lee Corso. And Lee Corso, he's not on the show anymore, and I miss him. I miss that old guy.
Did you see his stat? I think he won like 6 out of or 7. He went 6 for 6 or 8 for 8 of his last picks leading up to his retirement.
Did he?
Yeah, like it was crazy. It was like he was undefeated, like 8 for 8 or something like that. Or that college game day, he was undefeated.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
good for him.
Yeah, no. It's been a good year. Oregon's having a good year. My worry is that nobody's really played anybody. Maybe Georgia against Tennessee.
We played Oklahoma State. Okay, they won the Big 12 once or twice.
They did win it once, and now Mike Gundy is fired.
Yeah.
Which is that organization is becoming a dysfunctional organization.
A bad loss. I was there for that game, and my God, just watching it, I felt bad for them almost. Like at the end of the second or at the end of the third quarter, or no, the second quarter. Yeah, we were trying to go to halftime, and it was like 3 plays, 2 pick sixes in 2 plays, and I was like, I kind of feel bad for Oklahoma State. Like I know they sucked, but I didn't think they were this bad. And then I remember that it was Mike Gundy was the one talking smack about Oregon getting money from Phil Knight. And I was like, you guys were sucking at the teat of T. Boone Pickens' oil money for decades until he died and his money dried up. I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, or his family just fought over his money after he died. But no, Mike Gundy is one of those coaches like Nick Saban, that was taking advantage of no one caring to inspect your program because your program dominates the whole city. You fund a ton of things going on. So, what news organization, just like in Alabama, is going to investigate you? Nobody wants to
Right?
give up on their cash cow. So, you're sitting here paying for players when nobody else is paying for players, making your team good. And now the playing field has been evened by NIL, and you want to complain about it. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That's what happened.
That is what happened. It's what happened to Alabama too. So you're saying take Oregon and the points this weekend.
Yes. Take it all.
Whiteouts be damned. We're taking Oregon and the points in that one. But speaking of probably the best game we've seen so far, it was Georgia-Tennessee as far as ranked matchups are concerned, because the Texas-Ohio State game was kind of a clunker, kind of a defensive struggle. So we've got this weekend Georgia against Alabama.
Georgia. Alabama sucks, man. Alabama is not what they used to be. I'm sorry. Kalen DeBoer, like, I don't know. I thought you were good, but I think you just, like, rode off of Michael Penix you were at UW, because, man, how do you lose, like, the games that you're losing, bro?
Well, FSU might be good. FSU might be good. We don't know yet, but
it's funny because FSU went undefeated and then they won like one game last year, and now all of a sudden they're like world beaters again. I'm like just pick one. Suck or be really good.
Rebuild.
Which one?
Sometimes you got to rebuild.
That was a fast rebuild. That was a fast and dramatic rebuild.
I mean, now you can, like we just talked about with NIL, you can rebuild very quickly now. You could reload really quickly. Yeah, like look at Ohio State.
I mean, Ohio State doesn't, like, they don't need to rebuild. They just keep stacking more people on to their already massive roster. Like, it's whatever. I mean, Ohio State's going to dominate Washington this week. There's a lot of Husky fans that think they have a chance. So I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have a freaking chance. Ohio State's going to come in there and they're going to crush you, and you guys are all going to cry.
So, Wes, we'd love to talk about the obscure things with you. And you brought up Ohio State. What did you think of Ryan Day's one nipple piercing on week 1? Did you see all the images of Ryan Day, and he's cheering and it looks like he has one nipple pierced?
I don't look at his nipples, so sorry, I did not see that.
It was all over social media. Everybody was making fun of Ryan Day having one nipple pierced.
I'm glad I didn't see that. I would
love to see this storyline push so far that he has to answer for it. That like somebody in mainstream media asks him about it, and he has to talk about his one nipple piercing. But if you don't want to talk about Ryan Day, maybe you want to talk about Shedeur Sanders and the Browns.
All I'm gonna say, man, Oregon is QBU. Okay, we got Herbert balling out. We got Nix balling out. Mariota was balling out when Jaden Daniels got injured. And then Dylan Gabriel, once he gets his shot to start over Shedeur Sanders, he's going to be balling out too. And you know what? Shedeur, man, that guy sucks. I'm sorry. Like, dude, you're QB3 for a reason. He was asked earlier today I can't remember the exact question, but basically he like looked around. He was in the locker room and he like kind of looked around. He's like, well, have you seen the QB play going on right now in this league? He's like, I could do a lot better than some of that. And I'm like, really, bro?
Taking shots at Joe Flacco?
Yeah, taking shots at Joe Flacco and your team and everybody else in the league. I'm like, dude, you suck. Come down a little bit, all right?
Yeah, right? Everybody tried to make excuses for him when he went fifth in the fifth round. And I'm like, no, like, if you watch our show, Wes, you can, even when you and Chelsea
in the fifth round for a reason.
Yeah, even when you and Chelsea were kind of high on him, I kept saying, I don't like the way he throws the ball. Like, remember, I would talk about it a lot. I was like, he has a bad release. Like, his deep ball looks bad. And you would get on my case. And I was like, I just think that his wide receivers are making him look good when he throws that ball. Travis Hunter, Horn, like, they were just making him look great. And I think I was right. And then he's got that shitty attitude on top of everything that's like, okay, you're
spoiled
just
little
okay.
Boy.
Yeah, he's a spoiled rich boy. You're just okay, and you have a bad attitude. Those two things don't typically go together in the professional world. You have to be amazing, and then you're allowed to have an attitude. or
Yeah.
you can have an attitude and you just know you're just not that good. And right now he seems like the bully that just knows he's not that great and he just talks smack.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. That's all he got is his mouth. That's all he does. Flap, flap, flap. Flap, flap, flap.
So
You're
flap,
not
flap,
go
flap. And Wes, you're hoping the Ducks go quack, quack, quack.
Bye.
And the Mariners are in the playoffs. They're fighting for home field. You're hoping for the MVP. I think that's where we leave it this week, Wes.
I'm telling you, my prediction, Mariners, they get it done this year. World Series champs, baby. They end the drought.
So take a futures bet on the Mariners?
Yes. Bet on the Mariners. Bet everything. They are hot. They got an Etsy witch behind them. Like, you can't go wrong with an Etsy witch, man. Those ladies, they know what they're doing.
Those witches, they know what they're doing. They good curses, bad curses, they've got them all.
Yes, they do.
All right, Wes. It was great to see you again. Hopefully we see you back before the end of the season. Oregon's going to have some more big games now that they're in the Big Ten Conference.
They're number one,
so we'll
baby.
see what we can muster up. And we are back 48 hours later after all the games were played. And now you get to see if what we were recording on the day before all the games kicked off was correct. And I have to tell you, yes, we were absolutely correct. And if you follow us on TikTok, if you follow us on Instagram, or you follow our Facebook page, you took Oregon as the underdog against Penn State. And you got to see that we predicted the game correctly. Now, we should not have been so confident in Oregon winning that game because it was a lot closer than we thought it would be. Granted, the score stated that they won by 6 points. But that's because it went to overtime. For a while there, I was like, oh man, we might have our first losing bet on this program. But we managed to luck out with, of course, Drew Aller throwing a terrible, abysmal, absolutely awful pass in overtime. Overtime number 2 that was intercepted. Now, if you were listening earlier in this week's show, you heard me say I've never been a fan of Drew Aller. I've never been a fan of Cade Klubnik. I've never seen what others see in them. I guess scouts say he's got a powerful arm. I haven't seen it. He makes bad decisions. He doesn't have a great mind for the position. And he is blessed with what is a great recruiting class year after year at Penn State. But of course, we also saw, follow me on this one, Florida State go down. Ohio State looked terrible against Washington, though they pulled out the win. LSU goes down. And if you were, again, listening to the show earlier, you heard me say, I, for my money, think Ole Miss is the best team in the SEC. And of course, they beat LSU, who was ranked number 4. Then it did not stop. Georgia Tech got dragged into overtime. Illinois comes back and takes out USC. And then, of course, like I just said, we had Oregon beat Penn State. And then Alabama takes out Georgia. So, no, it's not just that Nick Saban has Kirby Smart's number. It is that Georgia has some mental block and cannot get over the hump that is Alabama, that stands in their way. It was a crazy weekend for college football, but I hope you tuned in to see at least our clip when we asked you to bet on Oregon. That's right. They were the underdog, and we said, take the underdog. I gave you an underdog in Detroit Lions last week. I said, hey, take Detroit in this game against the Ravens. And if you had done that, if you've done that 2 weeks in a row, you will have taken 2 underdog winners from the TheSadFan 2 weeks in a row. We're going to probably give you a third here. I don't know if it'll be an underdog, but we're going to give you a third bet here at the end of this episode. But let's just really quickly go over what is the misunderstanding that comes with being a college football fan. Yes, SEC is very, very good. However, are they 10 times better than the other conferences? I don't think so. I think they're really good. I think they're a powerful conference. And I think in the world of NIL right now, we're going to start to see something that you're not anticipating, which is lots of schools are going to be able to compete. USC, over the next 2 years, you're going to see, yes, they are bad. Lincoln Riley should probably eventually be replaced because wow, he's starting to look like a lame duck head coach, isn't he? He couldn't even win with his selected quarterback in Caleb Williams. But over the next 2 years, they've got some pretty astonishing 26 and 27 recruiting classes due to the NIL rules in the state of California. But you're starting to see other teams be able to keep up with traditional superpowers. And now it's because it's legal and everybody can play in this sandbox. It's not just the small market teams that somehow year after year had amazing football teams. And you're sitting here thinking, who wants to go to Tuscaloosa? Nobody wants to go to Tuscaloosa and play football. It doesn't make any sense. What's the incentive there? So with that all being said, let's move on to the NFL. I feel like our coverage at the beginning of the show spoke for itself. We went over all the winners from this week. SEC, it's not going to be the same for the SEC. They're not going to be that traditional powerhouse. Brian Kelly, I mean, he's just a choke machine. He can get you 9 games, but he's not going to win you those big games. It's just not going to happen under Brian Kelly. So LSU, again, goes down, but are they going to be in the mix? Who knows? This conference is going to cannibalize itself. Now, of course, Florida State, I want to move on to the NFL, but Florida State took an L against Virginia last week. And that really stings because we had an awesome opportunity to have a top 10 Floridian matchup there with FSU and Miami. And because they took that L against Virginia, we're not going to get to see that. But what I do think it means is Miami has to beat up on Florida State. Miami has to not just win this game. They have to go in there and dominate this game. They have to put the world on alert. If they're as good as most of us think they are, they have to show it this week. This is the week to show it. Yeah, it'll knock Florida State out of the conversation, but that's what needs to happen for Miami to catapult themselves into the consciousness of everybody, not just the people that have been watching recently, not just the people that have been watching the rise of Mario Cristobal and that program. Now let's move on to the NFL. What in the hell is going on with the Packers? Did I jinx them? 2 weeks in a row after I said I think they're the best team in football. I've seen this team play 2 weeks now, and they look like the teams like the Baltimore Ravens defense, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense of the early 2000s, and just nothing in these last 2 weeks. What are they doing? They have no business getting a draw against the Dallas Cowboys. They should have never gone to overtime against this team. This should have been a absolute whooping, and it wasn't an absolute whooping. It was a draw, and I'm so sick of ties in the NFL, but that's a story for another day. We need to get rid of ties in the NFL. We're not going to dig too deep into that, but the game should not have had to been saved by Micah Parsons. Now, what poetry, what a soap opera the NFL is that it was saved by Micah Parsons sacking Dak Prescott, creating the win that wasn't for the Dallas Cowboys. But it just shouldn't be. We should not be in a situation where that had to happen with the Green Bay Packers. My sincere hope is that the Green Bay Packers get their head on straight because they're not too injured yet. And the season only gets more and more injury filled, and it becomes a battle of attrition. And if the Green Bay Packers can't take advantage of their early schedule and their early health, I don't know what could happen to this team in the future. Speaking of the future, do the Raiders have one? Seriously, they have a quarterback that's in his mid-30s signed to a three-year contract. They've got Pete Carroll, the oldest coach in the NFL. They've still got Patrick Graham, who has sucked under multiple coaching regimes. And the only reason that the Raiders fans think Patrick Graham is good, that the world thinks Patrick Graham is good, is because he has Max Crosby. That's it. Without Max Crosby, he is absolutely terrible. That guy cannot win a game. That guy cannot coach a defense. That guy's secondary is incredibly weak. I'm not going to keep regurgitating the same information I've been giving you guys for 4 years, but enough with the Patrick Graham experiment. Let's get a defensive coordinator in there that can move a secondary, that can handle a back seven, because it is not him. Aaron Rodgers, I don't owe you an apology just yet because the season is long. However, he does have the Steelers at 3-1 on this very, very young season. And don't make me look like a fool, Aaron. I need you to crash out like you always do. Enough of this. Chargers, thank you so much for laying that egg against the New York Giants. We absolutely needed it because one thing that can cure depression for all Raiders fans is watching their rivals lose. But the Chiefs didn't do that. The Chiefs beat the Ravens. So here is our time to say, don't panic over the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are going to be fine. They're 1-3, but they played insane schedule so far, okay? The only soft team on their schedule was the Browns, who was going into this week before they played the Lions, the number one defense in the NFL. Now, they played the Lions tough. They played the Bills tough. The only game that they did not play tough against a top team was the Chiefs. Don't worry. There was a lot of emotion in this Chiefs win. They had Xavier Worthy back. Patrick Mahomes has to prove that he can still play quarterback and not check down Charlie. And he's trying to do that in this game. Travis Kelce has to prove that he's got one more run in the tank, not just old man River out there dropping balls and running into his own players. So this game was filled with emotion for the Kansas City Chiefs. Didn't like to see them win, but they did. And Lamar Jackson is injured currently. We'll see what that status means day to day, but it was a pulled hamstring, and we'll see how that goes in the future. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be just fine. Baker couldn't do it against the Philadelphia Eagles as the Eagles go to 4-0 on the week. Baker throws an interception on the goal line. It looked like the pass was tipped. It sucks because what a comeback they had to get back into this game, and they almost pushed this game into overtime. It just wasn't to be. And you can't play with your food, especially if your food is the Philadelphia Eagles. If you do that, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win the game. It's insane to see a coach like Liam Cohen. Sorry, I'm going rapid fire because I've already got 23 minutes for you at the beginning of the show. It's insane to see a coach the size and the appearance of Liam Cohen go after a coach the size and appearance of a Robert Saleh. But that happened after the sign stealing controversy that was released into the media by Robert Saleh, saying that the Jacksonville Jaguars have a legal way of sign stealing. Now, because of that, at the end of the game, after Jacksonville beat San Francisco, beat that Robert Saleh defense, there was an interaction, and there was a lot of positive words and positive vibes thrown into that interaction, but they were separated. If you want to see what I'm talking about, you need to go ahead and YouTube this interaction. And if you don't know who Robert Saleh or Liam Cohen are or what they look like, please Google them, and you'll see exactly what I mean when I say you don't suspect someone the stature of Liam Cohen to go after someone the stature of Robert Saleh. But hey, don't back down when you're coaching a game like football. You go into that guns blazing. And speaking of guns blazing, he didn't carry a gun, but he handled a whip. Indiana Jones goes down against Los Angeles. But was it his fault? We saw one of the worst drop the ball before the goal line plays we have ever seen in the Colts game, as the wide receiver made a miraculous catch on a miraculous throw and a miraculous spin move to get out of a crazy tackle that should have been. And how does he celebrate? He drops the ball before the goal line, and one of the worst rules in sports occurs. He kicks it out of the back of the end zone on accident, which gives the opposing team the ball on the 20-yard line. It is one of my least favorite rules in all of sports, but it is a rule that exists. And it bit the Indianapolis Colts because they only lost that game by 7 points, a touchdown. And that touchdown was taken away from them. I don't know if the Indianapolis Colts are real, but you hate to see a positive story end like it did in that game with that type of fumble, with that type of penalty for fumbling the ball in your own end zone. I hate that rule so much, but Indianapolis Colts undefeated no more. Indy Magic, is it still there? We're going to have to tune in next week and see if they can right the ship after a 7-point loss to Los Angeles Rams, who could give the NFC a run for its money, it appears. I thought it was going to be Eagles-Packers, but Rams played Eagles tough too, and we'll see what happens at the end of the year. Now, for the bet that we're going to give you to end this show, it is not an underdog, but what we are going to do is we're going to take Miami Dolphins to right the ship against the New York Jets. They got to do it. The Miami Dolphins have to do something to pull out of this funk that they're in. So we are taking Miami against the New York Jets. They are a 2.5-point favorite, so just fingers crossed they win by at least a field goal. Thank you so much for joining us each and every week here at The Sad Fan. We will see you next time.
Back to the block, I'm scamming. Back in the shop, I'm scamming. Get it off a dummy, I'm scamming. Always get money, I'm scamming.